Take a peanut, Cat.
No, there's snakes in there.
Really? Are you sure? What if there's actually peanuts inside?
Get that out of my face! Come on.
What are you working on now?
Have you heard about Annie's Road in Totowa?
No.
Well, a girl named Annie was walking along the road a while ago. She got hit by a car and dragged 40 feet. They say her blood still stains the road even after her death. And even when they pave it over, it comes seeping back up to the top. And I went to go check it out.
Of course you did.
But her father refused to talk to me. He slammed the door in my face, and then he called the cops. I talked to them instead. And they told me that he goes out and paints the road every time they repave it.
Why would they let him do that?
He was supposed to be watching her. And so the town just leaves him to his misery.
Why don't you just write about the Jersey Devil?
Oh, that story is so lame. Everyone already knows it.
Everyone doesn't know the real story.
What is the real story?
Well, it's about an unwelcome stranger, forbidden love, a wrathful town, out for revenge.
Oh.
Come on, I'll show you. Mom's gonna be out late anyway. Curiosity kills the cat. Again.
When the townspeople found out that the stranger was teaching heresy, they were convinced he was Satan and drove him out of town. What they didn't know is that he was involved with a young girl in the town, and she was 9 months pregnant with his baby. Her mother found out about the deviled egg, and the townspeople, thinking they were doing God's work, stabbed her in the womb. And then they threw her down a well. But she didn't die right away. Every night she let out these horrific screams that kept the entire town awake. So, to muffle her cries and cover up what they'd done, the townspeople built a structure over the well.
And you believe that story?
That part, yeah. The next part,
What's the next part?
they say that she lived long enough to give birth to the demon baby. And that to this day, it's still down there, refusing to leave his mother's side. Come on. It's around here somewhere.
What was with the symbol on the tree?
I don't think it means anything other than that we're close.
Pretty creepy. But it's probably just the entrance to an old mine shaft or something. They probably sealed it up so kids don't get inside. Why else would there be a door?
Put your ear against it.
What the hell was that?
It's the demon baby. Come on, let's go home so you can write your story.
It's not a story until I go inside.
You don't go inside, Cat. That's what keeps it a legend.
So? Who cares?
You gotta put your ear to the door, you...
So freaking lame.
Do it.
What the hell was that? What the hell was that?
you guys watched Keep in the Dark, written and directed by the Cremer brothers. And with us today are the Cremer brothers, both Herb and Joe. Thank you for coming on. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. So it was an excellent short. I thought right off the bat, I wanted to see the creature because there was so much lead up to the monster, not to show it. That was a major tease. Did you guys ever have any plans like maybe we want to show the creature because the sound effects and even saw from his perspective, I thought was pretty impressive. I wanted to see the guy. I'm a monster guy, so I wanted to see what he looked like.
We toyed with the idea of seeing like parts of him, like maybe hands or feet, but never like the full thing. We kind of always wanted to, because we grew up watching slasher films, so it's always that perspective, the point of view. You know, you never really see the killer till the thing. So we kind of wanted to do that, where you're just, you know, being forced to look at it through the monster's perspective, because it adds a level of terror to it.
We did have brief moments where we thought about maybe doing it, but at that time we didn't have the resources to show a monster or, you know, to create it and to show it. So we just figured keep it in the dark.
Yeah, this was our first production, so we didn't really have any connections at the time at all. So
really, this was your first film period, or?
Yep, it's the first one ever.
Nice. Wow, that is impressive.
Guys, I have to take the counter to what Anthony was talking about, because I actually appreciated that you didn't show the monster. I grew up, you know, watching, being weaned on supernatural films and so forth, where the monster wasn't shown and much was left to the imagination. That's what I appreciated about your short, you know, so much, was that you didn't show it. You left me to wonder what the monster looked like, or what the person looked like, how mutated is the person, that kind of thing. So I appreciated that you left a lot to the imagination, and it really adds to the suspense.
Yeah, well, it was a bit of a debate, you know, whether to show it or not. And then the kind of nail in the coffin of not showing it was the fact that we couldn't we couldn't create it anyway. So we just figured there's benefits to not showing it just as well. So
let me ask about about this film here. It seemed like you guys were you once again go into the territory of the legend, the story of a town, the mysterious background, the murder past. Was that something that kind of influenced you?
That was really, I mean, we had the main story about the sister in the well first.
Yeah.
We just needed kind of a vehicle, something to interest the viewer, to get Kat to actually want to explore this area and investigate the shed and the well. And it played into our theme, because we sort of had this theme about kind of like motherhood, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Because watching after these girls, they're just kind of left on their own. They go out, and obviously it doesn't end well.
Right.
And the backstory too, the mother turns the daughter in, and then the town stabs her in the womb and throws her on the well. So it was kind of this, we're just kind of exploring this balance between holding your kids like too closely and keeping them too far away, because also the demon refuses to leave his mother's side. That's like being like a mama's boy who, you know, is always there with his mom, like a Norman Bates kind of thing. Only the demon factor. So we just came up with a story that kind of played into that theme that we were doing. And the imagery too is very yonic. It's very like vaginal. Obviously the well opening, and
the rope is like the umbilical cord kind of thing, which is why, you know, she was about to cut the umbilical cord.
Well, I didn't even catch that. That is good. Yeah.
I got that.
Yeah, because that's actually when the demon finally snaps it, she's trying to cut the cord and he's not having that. So,
which is also why we decided to keep him in there at the end too. Is like he doesn't want to leave his safety of his little home, even though he's the monster. You know, he's not looking for trouble, but if it comes to him, he'll,
Yeah, because that was
Yeah.
one of the last lines we
Take care of it.
decided to keep in there was, some say that he's still inside, refusing to leave his mother's side. That was actually, I think, one of the last lines we wrote for that, to trying to drive that point home,
I
Right.
caught that. It seemed like that was your attempt to show a little bit of humanity, to him, his connection to his mother and so forth, and he's not the marauding monster that needs to go out and rampage and kill and so forth. He just wants to stay there to protect his mom and so forth. The question I had for you though is, I was curious. There's one sequence there where your reporter character, when she's presented with the shack, with the shed, and she's being told kind of not to go there by her friend, and she looks back to it, it becomes almost instantly a definite feeling that she must go in there, compelled to go in there. Is that something that you were aiming for, that she's being drawn to this to this shed?
Because that was our intent too, was that Kat is the main character. She, no matter how strong of a feeling she has, no matter like how much she knows, she doesn't actually know until she explores, until she takes a glimpse. That's the whole point of the peanuts in the beginning. Like, everybody knows that gag. She knows what it was. She even says it, but she still had to open it. That was kind of the same idea there. We're trying to show her character as quickly as possible because it's a short film. So we did the peanuts thing, and then later on, that's exactly why she has to go in there.
And it helped that the can of peanuts with the lid is symbolic of the well with the lid, just popping.
Yeah, if you play those shots side by side when he's rising from the well and when the snakes are rising out, it's actually, we try to do it almost exactly the same.
Wow.
And where was this filmed?
Like 30, 40 feet that way.
Congratulations! Yeah,
right here in the woods. We found the metal door. We don't know where it came from, and that was like, we knew we were going to use that, and it's for something, so like that's going to be in a movie we do. We don't know how or when. And then our father helped us build the shed ourselves. The three of us just went and built it, and just right on our parents' property out in the woods, and that's where we filmed it. That's where we built it, and it's still actually standing.
With all the blood and gore.
Yeah.
What's interesting was the blood and gore in your picture seemed muted, though. You show it in little bits rather than the whole thing. You see some of the blood oozing out of the door handle, the door, at the end. You see the small puddle out in front of that door. But essentially, you leave more to what the mind's eye is telling. Was that another thing that you were? I'm thinking you were maybe influenced by John Carpenter doing this. Doing this film. You talked about slasher films. I know Carpenter always was famous for what he didn't show versus what he did. Talk about that. Was that an influence for you?
I don't know. I mean, I'm just generally, we're influenced by John Carpenter, but also people like Wes Craven. So, we could have gone the other way.
Yeah.
I think it was just, again, we just didn't have the resources to kind of show the gutting or whatever. And we just were like,
we did have a debate as to whether or not we wanted those shots of the actual blood and stuff at the end too.
That's true.
Because we weren't sure if it quite fit, with the rest of it, because there was no real gore. But then we just said, screw it, put it in. And one of the reasons is we the guts of that was actually because that was filmed like after Thanksgiving, and that was leftover turkey guts.
Oh no.
Stuff.
I thought you were gonna say that. Oh, that's why I don't eat turkey.
So you actually went to whoever was making the turkey dinner and said, "Are you going to use that? Because we need a shot for the film."
Well,
You know,
luckily we didn't have to ask because I made turkey dinner, so I just took the leftovers and boiled the carcass down with the innards, that they give you.
Did anyone ask why you wanted to use that and then say, never mind, I don't want to know?
We got plans for that.
They're pleading the fifth, Kevin.
Yes, but I plead
Yes, this is not a new way to recycle leftovers from Thanksgiving. Don't try this at home.
I already got the idea. Well, looking on your Film Freeway page, you guys, I didn't know this was your first film, and we can only judge films by submissions. We don't take prior work into account. It's the quality of the work that comes to us. So when you said this was your first film, I was absolutely floored because even with a constrained budget, you guys definitely achieved at least what you wanted to come out with, and that was to terrify the audience. And looking at your list, you guys this had quite a screening run in the festival. So I just want to give you guys a round of applause. You guys had a really nice run for your first film. You guys must be ecstatic and just saying, the sky's the limit from here.
Yeah, a little bit of both. I mean, you loved how much success it had. At the same time, like, I don't want to expect that from all the other films. I don't want to be disappointed when, like, oh well, because I mean it did. I mean 2.5 years. I think even up until last year, we were still getting into some festivals, but last fall even, and and I don't know. So it's a little bit of both. Like, we're happy about it, but I also don't want to like think that like, oh, this is easy,
True. Yeah.
I mean,
you really don't know. I mean, you do know, but sometimes, like, man, we couldn't show the creature because we didn't have the money for it, but that just forced us to have the creature act out in different ways. Like his voice changes. In the beginning, he kind of just growls, but as the woman goes in there, you can tell he becomes a little bit more agitated, maybe a little angry, and then up until the part where he's eating him. So there was a lot of practical effects as far as the voice that came out good. I thought the woman portrayed fear enough that you thought that whatever she was facing inside there, you wouldn't want to be stuck inside there. So even without showing the creature, I think everything else was hitting on all cylinders.
thanks. The voice was actually, we have some sort of weird like cement cylinder thing.
It's a drain pipe.
Yeah, it's a drain pipe.
Like one of those huge.
Joe
cement
crawled in it, and we capped off the one side, and then he did this really high pitched thing, and I put the microphone in there so that it would get like this weird echo and reverberation and stuff. And then we just kind of played with it in post in various ways, and he did various pitches, and sometimes it was deep, sometimes it was higher pitched, and we just kind of played with it in post and added certain effects or whatever to make them different. And
I love behind the scenes stuff. That's great.
Yeah, and it was all planned out. Like, we knew that inside it should sound different, and we wanted to just get the effect that like it would be closer and closer maybe. So we had to play with it and change to see what we liked and all.
Yeah, I kept crawling up the drain pipe to get the closer ones. I would be, like the first time I was pressed against the bottom of it, he was at the top, and then I would climb up a little bit more and do it again.
There was a lot of preparation in it.
Yeah, and you can see it. It comes out in the end. The effect is disturbing. You guys definitely achieved it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Oh, yes. So give us your leading lady's name, because I thought you did a really good job.
The lead was Grace Soriano. She was the first person other than us, obviously, on board for the film, and we've actually, so we help her produce her movies, and we do some outside of school for her. I think she's been a part of almost every single movie we've done on some level,
nice.
Acting or assistant directing, producing something. So yeah, she
That's
actually started
wonderful.
Yeah, she was at the time she was doing community theater, and that's how she contacted us, because we put out like feelers to local community theater places to see if any actors wanted to play a part in a movie, and then she contacted us through them, or because of that or whatever, and then since then we've been working with her like almost on every film. So
she really creates a kind of a curiosity factor. She's intrigued by the whole legend, and really expresses that on the screen, I thought, and on camera. And for viewers to get into a film, I kind of feel like you have to be able to get behind the lead character.
Yeah.
Kind of get behind their plight a little bit, get involved, so that you care enough when something happens to them. So that's what I was looking at with Grace, was that she was, she expresses this curiosity enough that she needs to find out more about what's going on, and you're kind of with her on the journey. And I thought that that was really kind of a deft skill that she has.
Yeah, that was actually came through with influenced our direction a little bit too, because you're talking about like you're being dragged along with her in this journey. If that's why we did the dolly shots in the woods, was that's kind of the vibe we were going for, was that you as the audience are being brought with her, whether you want to or not. She's taking you to this shed in the woods.
Yeah, the idea was that to keep the dolly always in front of them, as if they're all being pulled and drawn in.
Yeah, we're being pushed with them,
and which is why we did that.
Nice.
We did that where she's pulling away, and we're stationary at the shed from like almost the monster's point of view, but you can see her like pulling away, and it's like, but she's looking back because she's still mentally there, even though she's physically being drawn away. And
those dolly shots, by the way, I'll tell you, were achieved by because we were in the woods. It was a wheelchair dolly.
Oh, I love that one.
We took wooden planks, and we screwed
metal studs.
Is everybody listening to this?
Metal studs to it. We forced the wheelchair so that we put a straight bar so that the wheels couldn't turn like they'd like to, so that it was just straight.
Had it rigged so that the camera could mount to it.
Yeah, the camera mounts right on the wheelchair, and then the wheels go in the metal studs, and we just pulled it along with a rope.
Yeah, our father again helped us. He had a rope tied around his waist, and then just because he's got steady hands, and we knew he could keep the pace, almost like a machine anyway. And he just kind of slowly dragged it up to him, and we had
sounds like something out of 10 Commandments. Come on, just pull. You can pull.
But I'm also going to call BS. This can't be your guys' first film. Not with this kind of skill.
This is an example of working with what you have. You don't have a lot of money. You guys said, well, we have this and we have this. Let's put it together and see if we can come up with an effect. And
that's horror 101. That's when it gets good.
Exactly. Now, I did have one thing I wanted to ask. What was the point of I noticed that you do a ground shot inside when they're inside the home at the beginning, just after they've had the snakes in the can. What do you say? The peanuts in the can. Thing. As the two girls go outside, there is a ground shot. It seems like from the floor, looking out at them as they're leaving. Is there a purpose to that, or was that just something that you wanted to play with?
There's a couple things with that. It was the snake's point of view.
Yeah. Okay.
Out of the can and then lays there.
Uh
huh. It was supposed to mirror kind of the end because you're seeing everything through the monster's point of view.
Right.
We're just trying to draw an association between those two things. That's what she's curious about in that scene and in the last scene.
Right. Okay.
And there was a continuity practical reason too that we did it, because we filmed her leaving the house. She did not take her pad when she gets up.
Oh.
So that's why she comes back into the house, takes the pad, and goes out. So it was both. It was artistic choice, but we're also continuity.
Yeah, I think
issues.
what happened, we had that shot with this point of view of them leaving, then we just said, oh, you know what, to do the continuity, just come back in, grab the pad, and go back out.
Yeah.
And then we can just do it.
Yeah. We didn't like do it just for that. We had
Bravo.
that shot and then added them coming back in to get the pad. Yeah.
You didn't stop
Bravo,
Grace. Stop Grace to say next time. Okay, do. We covered for you this time, but next time do it this way.
Well, if we were more experienced, we would have told her to bring the pad. We completely
just
slipped our mind, and then we had already finished up the one shot, and we're just like, well, we're not going to set it back up and make it look exactly the same. So have her come back in and do the shot.
You're a director, though. You don't take responsibility. You blame the actor. Come on,
What are you guys working on next?
Well, we're co-producing a web series with the actress who played the older sister in Keeping in the Dark, Melissa Malone.
All right.
She has a successful web series called Or So the Story Goes. It's a horror anthology
Nice.
loosely based on like children's stories.
Fantastic.
Fairy tale.
Kind of in the vein of Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark a little bit.
Yeah. So they had a good run with that, and she wanted to do another web series with her wife Teresa. So we got a great relationship with them too, because we worked again as just like Grace. We've worked on pretty much everything with them too. Like every one of our movies, it's either Grace or Melissa, or usually both. So they wanted to bring us on board for that. It's supposed to film in the summer, late summer. We don't know if we're gonna have to postpone it or what.
Yeah.
And right now we have a horror movie that's on the shelf just waiting to premiere because
Oh, really?
of this. Yeah, so
What do you got?
it's called You're It, and it's a group of kids who are really just trying to like alleviate their boredom, and so they decide to play a game of hide and seek. And they break into like I guess it'd be like a roadside attraction kind of thing. It's called the Gingerbread Castle. It's actually a kind of like a historic thing in New Jersey.
Nice.
The owner let us use it because it's actually abandoned right now. He's fixing it up. So they go in there and they play a game of hide and seek. I don't know how much we can give away.
Don't give it away, guys. Don't.
Let's just say it doesn't go well.
Okay.
Awesome.
Better.
And we have one in the festival circuit right now called Playdate. It's another horror.
Horror, sort of.
Yeah. That's the thing is we thought it was funny. We thought it was like a horror comedy, but everybody's like, what the hell is wrong with you guys? This is disturbing.
Playdate.
We thought it was
I don't
funny.
see Playdate on my list here for next year. It's missing the Death Parade Film Fest for 2021. We have to rectify this.
I was going to say, it sounds like you have some projects that could definitely fit for Death Parade.
Absolutely.
I believe we
talk
sent you
about
it. I believe we sent you You're It this year. Because
I'll check on that.
you were the first ones to play Keep in the Dark outside of the New Jersey, New York area, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Even though it had like a successful run, it was very local. You were the only ones outside of these two states to play it.
Wow. Yeah, I jumped all over that. It was good. Yeah. It wasn't just me. I also had a team of critics from various degrees, and they like the different types of horror. I wanted other perspectives to make sure that it wasn't just my point of view. You're gonna see films that I like. You'd actually see films that everybody would like. One guy liked found footage films, someone else liked zombies, someone else liked psychological body horror, and it was pretty much unanimous that Keep in the Dark it had to find its way into the festival.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So where can we find you?
Yep.
We have we're on Facebook, Jobert Entertainment. We're on Instagram, Twitter. You just go to www.jobertentertainment.com, and all of our social media links are there. Any information about any of the movies we've done, because I know we discussed horror, but we've done other genres too. So anything, trailers are all up there. Any information, any background information on movies we've done, we try to keep our website up to date. Scenes footage and scenes of photos. So
excellent. Kevin, any other questions?
No, I just want to reiterate that I was very impressed with how minimalist you were, how how muted the horror, the visceral was on your short. And I absolutely, even if you get, and I'm sure you will get, bigger budgets and more money passed your way, I absolutely encourage for you to continue with the restraint that you have that you showed with this film here. Gore is great, and practical effects are wonderful, but this emphasizes the story and the characters and the surroundings and so forth, the atmosphere. So I encourage you to keep with that with that formula wherever possible.
Absolutely. That's actually, it's not just the financial restraints we have. It's also, I mean, like we mentioned, our influences. I forgot to mention
the way of
George
storytelling.
Romero, George Romero, John Carpenter, even some of the things like Spielberg always had a big budget, but with Jaws, the shark didn't work. So what does he do? One point of view. So it was perfect,
Case in
If we
point.
saw the shark the entire time, it would have been.
Hey, leave Bruce
The scariest
alone.
parts of Jaws is when you didn't see him. You just heard him coming.
Right. Leave
Exactly.
poor Bruce alone, I tell you. Bruce was a good shark. He just needed some love.
You do it, Joe. Then you do it. Go love him. I'm going to stay on the beach, right?
That's how it goes, Joe.
Good night, everyone. It's been nice knowing you.
Well, I want to thank you guys very much for coming on the Death Parade Film Fest Theater. It was a pleasure watching Keeping Dark, and I hope we get to do this again with your other films.
Hope so too.
Thanks.
And hopefully
Thank
you
you,
guys come out.
Oh, yeah, the invitation's there.
A standing
Hopefully, yeah.
invitation to come out and spend time with us at our convention, at our film festival.
Sounds good.
All right. Have a good night.
You too.
Have a good night, guys.
Take care, everybody.
Take care.
Bye.
Good night.